was a dreary Wednesday afternoon at the old St. Mary's College, a small institution nestled deep in the New England countryside. The heavy rain drummed relentlessly against the Gothic windows of the campus library, casting a veil of melancholy over the usually bustling student life. The storm had been forecast to be severe, and most students had retreated to their dorms, leaving the sprawling campus eerily quiet. Alice, a graduate student in literature, found solace in the solitude of the library. She had a paper to finish, and the ambience of the rain-soaked campus helped her focus. She chose a secluded table in the library's lower level, known as the Crypt by the students due to its cold, damp, and somewhat forgotten atmosphere. The fluorescent lights flickered intermittently, casting long, shifting shadows across the ancient wooden shelves that housed rare and forgotten tomes. As she settled into her work, the silence was broken only by the occasional sound of raindrops cascading down the stone walls. Hours passed, and the monotony of the rain began to blend with the rhythm of her typing. She was deeply engrossed in her research when she heard it, a faint, irregular tapping. At first, Alice dismissed it as a quirk of the old building, or perhaps an echo of the storm outside. But the tapping persisted, growing more distinct and deliberate. Her curiosity piqued. Alice rose from her chair, wrapping her cardigan tightly around her. She navigated through the labyrinth of shelves, following the sound. It led her to a dark corner of the library, an area she had never explored before. The tapping grew louder, more insistent, as she approached a heavy, iron-bound door she had never noticed. The door was slightly ajar, and from the gap, a faint light spilled out, casting an eerie glow on the wet stone floor. With a mix of trepidation and intrigue, Alice pushed the door open. The room beyond was small and circular, lined with ancient books and manuscripts. In the center stood a large, ornate mirror, its surface clouded with age. The tapping, she realized with a start, was coming from within the mirror itself. Heart pounding, Alice approached the mirror. She wiped a layer of dust from its surface, revealing a reflection that was not her own. Instead, she saw a dim, candle-lit chamber with figures moving about. They were dressed in old-fashioned attire, and their faces were gaunt and pale, eyes hollow as if devoid of life. One figure, a tall man with a stern expression, seemed to sense her presence. He turned his gaze toward her, and their eyes locked through the glass. Suddenly, the man moved closer, his form becoming clearer. Alice tried to step back, but her feet felt rooted to the spot. The man raised his hand and began to tap on the glass from the other side, matching the rhythm she had heard earlier. With each tap, the surface of the mirror seemed to ripple, the barrier between their worlds growing thinner. A chill ran down Alice's spine as the man's face twisted into a sinister grin. He began to speak, his voice a low, guttural whisper that seemed to echo in her mind rather than through her ears. "Join us," he said. "We have been waiting for so long." Panic surged through her as she fought to break free from the mirror's grip. She tore her gaze away and stumbled back, her movements frantic. The room around her seemed to distort, the shadows lengthening and twisting, as if alive. The man's face pressed against the glass, and with a final, resounding tap, the mirror shattered, sending shards flying in all directions. Alice screamed and covered her face, But when she opened her eyes, she was no longer in the circular room. She found herself back at her table in the crypt, the rain still pouring outside. Her laptop screen displayed the same page of her paper she had been working on, but something was different. The words had changed, now recounting the events she had just experienced. Breathing heavily, she glanced around. Everything appeared normal, yet a sense of unease lingered. She quickly packed her things, eager to leave the library. As she hurried up the stairs, she couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. She paused at the top of the staircase and looked back. The door to the circular room was nowhere to be seen, but the faint echo of tapping seemed to follow her, a reminder of the entities that lurked just beyond the veil of reality. From that day on, Alice avoided the lower level of the library. She tried to convince herself it was a hallucination, a product of stress and exhaustion. But every time she heard the rain, she couldn't help but listen for that insistent tapping, fearing the moment she would see those hollow eyes staring back at her through the glass once more. And that's the chilling tale of Alice and the Haunted Mirror of St. Mary's College. If you enjoyed this story and felt the shivers down your spine, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more spine-tingling tales.